What happens when a brand most people still underestimate builds an SUV that looks this expensive? Because let's be honest, if this wore a German badge, half the internet would already be calling it the next great luxury family SUV. But because it says JAECOO on the front, some people are still pretending not to look. That may be their biggest mistake. Welcome back to Accent Auto Channel, and today we're looking at the 2026 JAECOO J8 Black Edition. A large, bold, premium SUV that might quietly be one of the most underrated luxury value machines of the year. First impression? This thing does not look like it wants to play safe. The 2026 JAECOO J8 Black Edition looks like an SUV built to make established brands feel a bit uncomfortable, especially the ones that have spent years charging premium money for designs that are getting softer, rounder, and frankly, less memorable. Because this doesn't arrive with timid energy, it arrives with presence. From the front, that grille is the whole statement, huge. Upright, dominant, in this blacked-out finish with strong vertical detailing, it gives the J8 that proper high-end road presence buyers usually associate with far more expensive machinery. And that's why the front end works. You've got the tall grille face, slim upper lighting signature, triple projector-style LED detailing, and those vertical DRL elements that visually stretch the height of the car. And on a large SUV, that matters, because proportions are everything. You can add chrome, LEDs, giant wheels. But if the proportions are wrong, the whole design falls apart. Here, they don't. The bonnet looks long and planted, the nose feels upright and expensive, and the surfacing is clean enough to feel premium without losing character. Then in black, it gets even stronger. Because black always exposes weak design. If the stance is awkward, black shows it. If the body is messy, black shows it. If the proportions are cheap, black shows it immediately. But here, black actually helps the J8. It gives the grille more authority, sharpens the shoulder line, cleans up the glass house, and pushes the whole SUV into that stealth luxury territory buyers normally have to pay extra for. From the side, it looks mature. Long wheelbase feel, strong shoulder line, tall glass area, subtle roof taper, and a properly substantial silhouette. Not fake sporty, not over-designed, just strong, wide, and confident. Then at the rear, the design stays clean and disciplined. Full-width LED light bar, wide tailgate treatment, strong horizontal emphasis, and a rear graphic that looks modern without becoming gimmicky. That's important because rear design is where many SUVs lose their identity. Front looks great, side looks strong, then the back ends up generic. Not here. The J8 rear feels upscale, minimal, and properly premium. The roofline, rear glass, lamp width, and stance all work together to make the SUV look broader and more expensive on the road. And the top-down visual you uploaded also shows another nice detail. The roof and panoramic glass area give the car a more premium executive feel, not just a utility-first SUV shape. So overall, the J8 Black Edition looks like the kind of SUV that exposes an awkward truth. Some legacy brands are now charging for badge history, while newer brands are starting to deliver actual visual drama. And buyers are noticing. Now, let's get into the cabin. Because this is where the JAECOO J8 Black Edition starts asking some very uncomfortable questions. Open the door, and the first thing that hits you is not just technology, it's atmosphere. This interior doesn't feel thrown together. It feels designed to impress. The cream quilted seats, the gloss black surfaces, the layered dashboard, the blue ambient lighting, and that wide digital screen layout. All of it works together to give the J8 a proper premium lounge feel. And honestly, this is where some rivals start to look a bit lazy, because plenty of so-called premium SUVs give you a cabin that looks modern, but doesn't actually feel special. This does. The dashboard is one of the highlights straight away. That widescreen setup gives the whole cabin a clean, expensive, next-gen identity. It looks modern, minimal, and properly flagship. Then lower down, the center console keeps that same energy. Glossy control surfaces, a sculpted selector design, clean storage integration, and a layout that feels far more premium than many buyers might expect. This is not cheap car thinking. This is presentation thinking. And in this segment, presentation matters. Because once buyers start shopping in premium SUV territory, they don't just ask what the car can do. They ask how it feels every single day, and the J8 looks like it understands that. The seats are another big win. They look soft, supportive, and genuinely upscale, not sporty for the sake of it, not aggressive for no reason, just properly luxurious. Then move into the rear, and the same theme continues. The second row looks spacious, comfortable, and executive. Big seats, premium materials, rear controls, and a genuine sense of long-distance comfort. Even the door panels look expensive. And that's the key word here: consistency. Nothing breaks the premium illusion. And that's why this interior works so well, because the J8 doesn't just look good for the money, it looks like it may be giving some much bigger brands a very awkward problem. Now performance. Based on published J8 specs in export markets, the petrol J8 uses a 2.0-liter turbo engine producing around 193 last and 385 Nm with available 2WD or AWD, while some other market listings quote figures up to roughly 261 HP and 400 Nm depending on specification and market. So, what does that tell us? Simple. This is not built to be slow. And it's definitely not built to feel underpowered for its size. That output puts it in a very respectable part of the segment, especially for a big, comfort-focused SUV. And when you compare that broadly with mainstream large SUV rivals in the UK, the picture gets interesting. The current Kia Sorento hybrid is listed at 212 bhp and 367 Nm, while the plug-in hybrid goes to 248 bhp and 367 Nm. The Hyundai Santa Fe hybrid is quoted in UK material at 235 PS and 380 Nm. And Škoda's Kodiaq 2.0 TSI 204 PS is listed with 320 Nm. So on paper, the J8 sits exactly where it needs to sit, strong enough to feel premium, strong enough to carry size properly, and strong enough not to feel like a styling exercise with no real substance. And that's crucial, because the quickest way to ruin a luxury SUV is to make it look like power, but deliver hesitation. The J8, at least on paper, doesn't look like it's making that mistake. Out on the road, this is the kind of SUV that should be judged less like a sports machine and more like a long-distance luxury tool. And that's where it makes sense. The official J8 material also highlights CDC suspension on certain AWD versions, describing adaptive shock control designed to continuously respond to changing road conditions for comfort and control. That matters because for a large SUV, real quality is not how dramatic it looks in photos. Real quality is, how calm is it over broken surfaces? How quiet is it on the motorway? How settled is it when fully loaded? How relaxed do you feel after 2 hours behind the wheel? And visually, everything about this J8 says it's aiming at that calm, insulated, premium experience. Big seats, wide cabin, substantial body, comfort-first layout, strong rear accommodation. This feels like a car made for the highway, for family distance work, for airport runs, for executive-style daily use. In other words, not fake performance, real usability. So, is the 2026 JAECOO J8 Black Edition the most underrated luxury SUV of the year? Honestly, it might be. Because this doesn't look like a background player. It doesn't look like a budget compromise. And it definitely doesn't look like a car that should be ignored. It looks like a serious warning shot to brands that got a little too comfortable. And in this segment, that is exactly what makes it interesting.